The song of Washington and the politicians. 6:07, 7 past 6, hour number 2 of Awake with Jake, up and running right here on WLS. Man, there's a lot of stuff we're going to get to today. Did you see the story about the guy who went to the CTA barn, bus barn on the south side the other night? Checked out, he had a stolen CTA uniform on, checked out a bus, and was driving it down the street for about 4 hours, picking up people, making stops. And you know what gave him away? 2 things. Number 1, he was on time, and number 2, he was courteous. He said, this can't be a real driver. We're going to get to Dr. Bob in a minute or so. Robert in Athens. Hello, Robert.
Yeah, I was wondering if you are following Lady Gaga's call to contact your senator and ask them to repeal the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy.
I know she's been doing that. And that was one of the big pledges that Barack Obama made when he was running for office. That was going to be one of the first things he was going to do, and he's kind of run into some resistance.
Right. He hasn't really, followed through with that at all, or really mentioned it since he's been elected.
No, he hasn't done that. Clinton was going to do that too, and then Clinton ran into problems.
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of. I think it'd be kind of an albatross for any, president at least to kind of run behind that.
Well, you make a lot of promises to your base, and then you don't deliver.
Yeah, that is true, and people in the House of Representatives and the Senate are, kind of feeling the heat from that. Harry Reid, I know, is under a lot of pressure from his constituents.
Harry Reid called the guy who's the Democratic nominee for the Senate from Delaware. What's his name? Chris Coons. He called him his pet. How'd you like to have that on your campaign literature? Vote for me. I'm Harry Reid's pet.
Well, he's a beacon of dignity and credibility anyway. So
yeah, now they're pandering to the Hispanic community. They're trying to pass this DREAM Act 45 days before the election.
So of course, once again, but if Lady Gaga gets behind it, do you think it would have any push or pull?
They say where Lady Gaga goes, Liza Minnelli can't be far behind.
That's not good.
All right, thank you, Robert.
Like dragging a tailpipe. Okay, thanks.
Whatever that means. I have no idea. I have no idea. All I know is the arrogance of the politicians. It's like, did you see the Tribune's front page yesterday? The millions and millions of dollars that's going out for these local officials and stuff. They pad their last salaries so they get an increased pension and stuff. It's costing millions and millions. Everybody's in there. There was a story. I even saw a story yesterday about this cafeteria manager at this local school. The more kids you have, the cheaper you get the lunch. The lunch program administered by the federal government. So this guy put his dog on the list with his 2 daughters. And the only reason he got caught is somebody realized that was the name of his dog. If he had made any other name up, he wouldn't have been caught. So then they start checking the list real close, and they find out all these other school people were putting their animals on the list to get free stuff. It's all over the place. It's like sick time. You remember when they put sick time in? What was sick time supposed to be for? It was one of those things, well, if you were too sick to go to work, they didn't want you to actually lose, be penalized by losing your salary and where you can't support your family and yourself. And so they gave you sick time. They gave you sick days. So what happened with that? People started abusing it. So then you've got the people working in the governments who would keep their sick time, pile it up, and then when they're leaving office or leaving their job, they cash in and it boosts their salary. So they get a higher pension. It's like everybody's working the system. Everybody's working something. And speaking of a man who really works hard, our very own Dr. Bob.